Good morning, everybody. I wanted to make a video talking about the current implosion, the bankruptcy, the insanity going on with FTX. I think it's going to be bigger than Enron. And I wanted to talk about how this entire thing was quite obviously, like, essentially a Ponzi scheme. SBF had described a Ponzi scheme himself in an interview he did where he was describing what he was doing with FTX. And it's something that, it was being pushed everywhere. That should have been the first red flag for people that, hey, maybe there's something else going on here. Maybe there's more going on here than initially meets the eye. So we're going to get into that. Before we get into it, though, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. We had our 10K celebration stream last night. Was really cool. I'm so humbled and honored that we've gotten that far already. It's still kind of crazy to me, so thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so. Join the family here, and if you do like the video, if you enjoy the video, like the video, and leave a comment. It helps with the algorithm. I'm always being suppressed, so any little bit helps. All right, so also, just to put it out there, I'm not feeling that good today. It is my first day going without coffee and without sugar. And so I'm not feeling the greatest. All right, but let's get into it. Let's talk about Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX, okay? Because I thought this was an interesting thread. This is from Genco Capital. Did Epstein's Island truly shut down, or did it just move? There's a lot of weird stuff that is slowly coming out in the fallout of FTX going bankrupt. He says FTX was founded in 2019 and somehow managed to quickly become the biggest name in crypto. That was the second red flag, right? Whenever there's somebody that is like an establishment shill, posing as like a normie or a regular person, somehow they end up just getting pushed everywhere, their faces everywhere. I mean, they did this with Theranos and Elizabeth Holmes, all right? This is what they do. It's how they propel people into, mass fame. So he says he sponsored the MLB and basketball arenas, SBF heavily lobbying members of Congress. His face is all over the place as the quote-unquote next Warren Buffett. Here he is on the cover of Fortune magazine. The next Warren Buffett, the 30-year-old billionaire Sam Bankman-Fried, is betting big on crypto in a moment of crises. Yeah, Could he build an empire like the Oracle of Omaha or crash and burn? How'd he elevate to such a position so quickly? That is the question, isn't it? Let's look at his parents. His dad has written about and made a career off of getting rid of the quote-unquote cash economy and helping the government find tax evasion. Odd that his son is the biggest name in crypto, and his mother is a major Democrat operative. Unsurprising. And so just think about that. If you want to get rid of cash, the cash economy, if you want to transition to a cashless society, yeah, crypto would be part of that, right? Especially if you add in government regulation. So that's his mother, Barbara. April 25th, 2019, Joe Biden announces his presidential campaign. 13 days later, on May 8, 2019, Sam Bankman-Fried, son of Barbara Fried, the co-founder of the political fundraising organization Mind the Gap and Get Out the Vote organizations, including the Center for Voter Information, launches the FTX crypto exchange. The exchange is an overnight success that enables Sam to become the second biggest donor to the Biden campaign. Really makes you think, Be Mrs. Fried launched totally grassroots Democrat PAC in July 2018. Wonder how you're going to raise enough funds to make a difference. Son coincidentally becomes multi-billionaire a few months later. Some things just have a way of working themselves out, I guess. Oh, yeah, isn't that interesting? So here's the father, Joseph. A leading scholar in the field of tax law, Joseph Bankman is the author of 2 widely used casebooks on the subject. His writings on tax policy cover topics such as progressivity, consumption tax, and the role of tax in the structure of Silicon Valley startups. Oh, wow. He has gained wide attention for his work on how government might control the use of tax shelters and has testified before Congress and other legislative bodies on tax compliance problems posed by the cash economy. So they want to transition us to a no cash economy. So, Professor Bankman is a clinical psychologist as well as a lawyer. He teaches mental health law and writes on the intersection of law and psychology. He has developed a course on anxiety psychoeducation that has been taught at Stanford and Yale law schools, and written on how insights from social psychology might be used in the effort to reduce tax evasion. Now, the mother. Barbara's scholarly interests lie at the intersection of law, economics, ding ding, and philosophy. She has written extensively on the question of distributive justice in the areas of tax policy, property theory, and political theory. Interesting indeed. So these are the parents. Looks like the CEO of FTX and SBF's girlfriend also has connections in high places. In my opinion, this whole thing seems like a weirdly arranged business/S partnership with ulterior motives. So here we see CEO of Goldman Sachs, David Solomon, met with SBF to help FTX get regulatory approval. Here's a photo of Alameda CEO Caroline Capital's dad, Glenn Ellison, with Gregory Palm, former top Goldman Sachs lawyer, one of the wealthiest corporate lawyers in the world, or in the U.S. Interesting. SBF was one of the largest donors to Democrat candidates, second only to George Soros. Hey guys, is that another red flag maybe? SBF gave the second largest donation to Joe Biden's presidential campaign in 2020. And you can see that here, Sam Bankman-Fried. Whoo! Wow. 1 month after the war in Ukraine started, DC puppet Zelensky partnered with SBF for crypto donations. Ukraine partners with FTX Everstake to launch new crypto donation website. FTX is converting crypto contributions to Ukraine's war effort into fiat for deposit at the National Bank of Ukraine. We've come to find out that Sam's minimalist and poor quote-unquote lifestyle was completely a front. I drive a Corolla. He lived in the Bahamas in a multi-million-dollar mansion with his closest circle of friends, where they'd apparently have drug-fueled orgies. So it turns out that 10 of the FTX employees and founders were involved romantically. We're talking Sam, Caroline, and company. I'm not sure what's worse, losing our money or having to imagine that orgy. 2 weeks ago, a big named crypto developer who lived in Puerto Rico was sounding the alarm on the CIA and Mossad running a PE cult in the Caribbean, Shot and Chaser. So I did see this, running some kind of entrapment and ring out of Puerto Rico and the Caribbean islands. They're going to, yeah, okay. That was a weird thing to say. Oh, no. MakerDAO co-founder Nikolai Mushaganian dies at 29 in Puerto Rico. He was an important figure in the crypto community, contributing to multiple projects. That is incredibly bizarre. Now for where it gets even more interesting. Alameda Research, headed up by Ellison, mentioned earlier, and under the FTX brand, here is their logo. Almonds activated. Let's not forget the man, Sam himself. Jeez. This is so disturbing. All right. So, yeah. Wow. Okay. Let's move on. This is so funny. That's his girlfriend in him, and my goodness, I kind of have to agree with this. Like, I feel bad for anybody that lost their money to this, but like honestly, guys, who would make the mistake of entrusting it to people that look like that? Come on, physiognomy, let's go. All right, so this is the guy. This is Sam Bankman-Fried, and just listen to what he says here. Oh, really? Is that what he believes in? Which means his goal as a human is to make as much money as possible just to give it away, earn to give. And that's exactly what he's doing. So let's say you have $100 and you want to figure what you can do with it to help the world. Earning to give is thinking about which causes charities save the most lives per dollar. This $100 can go as far as it possibly can to help the world. Last year, this 29-year-old guy donated $50 million. Next year, he is planning to donate $500 million a year. And next decade, he will probably give away more than $10 billion. Oh, please. What a scam. The amount of good that you can do for the future of the world is really large, and it's way more than you can do to actually make yourself happy with anything like that amount of money. And he is funding everything you can think of. Global warming. It's one of the biggest problems we have to tackle together as a world. That event preparedness. We have to be ready for the next pandemic. Neglected tropical diseases. More than 1 billion people suffer from them. We have to eliminate them. Animal welfare. Animals deserve to live just like we do. It's also why I'm vegan. Sam doesn't need the money to buy a Lamborghini or buy a Rolex or to impress his friends. In fact, his car is a Toyota Corolla. Yeah, right. This is so ridiculous, guys. Oh, look at him. I didn't have a need for a Lamborghini. He wants to get rich in order to impact the world and change it. So, like, you could see that this was a scam from the beginning. Wall Street Silver says it's been 23 hours since Sam Bankman-Fried made a tweet. The longer this goes, the higher the confidence level is that it wasn't a quote-unquote hack, and the guy just flat out stole the crypto coins from customers and ran. Yes, so they announced that they were filing bankruptcy proceedings and then claimed that they had been hacked as customer funds were drained. I thought this was interesting and completely unsurprising. FTX had a quote-unquote backdoor built into its accounting software by SBF, which he used to move billions without triggering alerts to other staff, auditors, etc. That's coming from Reuters. They had suspended, this was just yesterday, 2 p.m., suspended U.S. withdrawals because they wanted to grab the money and hold on to it. In 2008, Goldman mastered the art of crony capitalism. Pay up for government protection and get bailed out when you need it most. That's why Goldman got bailed out while Lehman didn't. Crypto dude Sam Bankman-Fried just tried to play the same game by donating 30 million plus to the D's. He says parallels between the FTX fiasco and the 2008 financial crisis. The pro-regulation, quote-unquote, good guys turned out to be fraudsters who imploded, but saddled the actual good guys with regulatory backlash. FTX is a centralized exchange, but now tars decentralized finance with the same brush, and that's the goal, right? Oh, now we have to regulate. FTX bankruptcy shows the company had 134 affiliates spread across the globe and may have liabilities of up to $50 billion. Enron had liabilities of $23 billion. FTX may be worse than Enron. Yes, indeed. Here's Fortune from 2 days ago. Oops, Sam Bankman-Fried's implosion took down Democrats' second biggest donor with it as the party gears up to regulate crypto. Oh, how convenient. How interesting. Fewer names um, Fewer names have been bigger in crypto this year than Sam Bankman-Fried, CEO of crypto exchange FTX. So when it became clear this week that the curly-haired billionaire and his exchange faced a liquidity crunch, he was no longer a billionaire, and his exchange likely was insolvent. It cast a shadow over the entire space and sent digital currencies plummeting. Well, what's interesting is he's a huge donor to the Biden campaign, and Joe Biden made a central part of his political platform the goal to regulate cryptocurrencies and then come out with a central bank digital currency owned and controlled by the Federal Reserve with central control as usual. So it just seems incredibly convenient for them. Here we go from just today. Exclusive, at least $1 billion of client funds missing at FTX. Yes. FTX founder Bankman-Fried secretly moved $10 billion in funds to trading firm Alameda. Bankman-Fried showed spreadsheets to colleagues that revealed shift in funds to Alameda. Spreadsheets indicated between $1 to $2 billion in client money is unaccounted for. Executives set up bookkeeping backdoor that thwarted red flags. Whereabouts of missing funds is unknown. Unreal, guys. Absolutely unreal. At least $1 billion of customer funds have vanished from collapsed crypto exchange FTX, according to two people familiar with the matter. The exchange's founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, secretly transferred $10 billion in customer funds from FTX to Bankman-Fried's trading company, Alameda Research, the people told Reuters. A large portion of that total has since disappeared. One source put the missing amount at about $1.7 billion. The other said the gap was between $1 to $2 billion. While it is known FTX moved customer funds to Alameda, the missing funds are reported here for the first time. The financial hole was revealed in records that Bankman-Fried shared with other senior executives last Sunday. Records provided an up-to-date account of the situation at the time. Both sources held senior positions until this week and said they were briefed on the company's finances by top staff. Bahamas-based FTX filed for bankruptcy Friday after a rush of customer withdrawals earlier this week. A rescue deal with rival exchange Binance fell through, precipitating crypto's highest-profile collapse in recent years. In text messages to Reuters, Bankman-Fried said he disagreed with the characterization of the $10 billion transfer. Quote, "We didn't secretly transfer," he said. "We had confusing internal labeling and misread it," he added without elaborating. Wow. Asked about the missing funds, Bankman-Fried responded with question marks. Unreal. What an absolute scumbag. Okay. Now moving on, the backdoor in the bookkeeping system. The sources said the backdoor allowed Bankman-Fried to execute commands that could alter the company's financial records without alerting other people, including external auditors. This setup meant that the movement of the $10 billion in funds to Alameda did not trigger internal compliance or accounting red flags at FTX. Wow. He has denied in text messages to Reuters implementing a quote-unquote backdoor. The crisis has sent reverberations through the crypto world, with the price of major coins plummeting and FTX's collapse is drawing comparisons to earlier major business meltdowns. Yeah. On Friday, FTX said it turned over control of the company to John J. Ray, their restructuring specialist, to help with the liquidation of Enron. Alert, this is from Autism Capital. High probability insiders at FTX are currently trying to run off with the funds. Both FTX and FTX US wallets have been affected and commingled. The current amount being laundered is $380 million. Some of the wallets are labeled as FSBF. This could be a reverse optics to appear as if it is a hack. Anything is possible. It is interesting that an FTX official tweet came out minutes ago. It could suggest insider coordination. The fact that this hacker, quote unquote, is not concerned about moving funds publicly on chain shows the desperation and panic. If an insider, it would have been someone in the inner circle. A possible scenario shared with us. You need to liquidate. You're under investigation. You know the market is going to react. You have zero access to an OTC desk executor. So you rapid fire dump this SHIT to minimize the amount of time the market can front run you and sell anything censorable for uncensorable assets. Multiple people saying that FTX balances now read $0 as soon as this attack began. Previously, it showed their balance, but it was not withdrawable. Wow. Unbelievable. Former high-level FTX insider, I think this has to be an inside job. There is just no way to have this much root access so quickly. There are too many different wallets and products to pull this off at once. Interesting. So this is again talking about the backdoor. Frank says, can confirm this was the case. The system which Alameda SBF used for years effectively allowed Alameda to borrow from FTX an unlimited amount. Basically, if a user deposited $1 million, then Alameda could draw a $1 million line of credit from FTX. See, guys, it's an absolute scam. The more I learn about FTX, the more it reminds me of Epstein, Caribbean Islands, unexplained sources of funds, a million unanswered questions, incestuous networks of the rich and powerful. Like Epstein, it feels like a front. Yep. Yep. It takes money to make money. He continues, the simple thing was who financed you because you clearly didn't have the money. Yes, who financed him? And his partner is a guy named Gary Wang. And no one can find anything on Gary Wang. And he's on the board of advisors of Sequoia. And I ask you not, look up Sequoia's staff. There's a picture of Gary Wang of his back facing a computer. There's no picture of Gary Wang. So Gary Wang is the same CTO or the Chief Technology Officer of FTX. Allegedly. Allegedly. But there's a Chief Regulatory Officer of FTX named Dan Friedberg. And if you Google Dan Friedberg poker scandal, he was the general counsel of, I don't know if it was Ultimate Bets or one of those sites where they basically cheated against players. Lovely. Then you take into account that SBF is bailing out known Ponzi's and frauds in the crypto space. Now, why would he do that? Everyone who's gone bankrupt or is a proven fraud, and somehow, through that Cartoon Network, has painted him as the JP Morgan of crypto, which makes absolutely no sense. He's not the JP Morgan of crypto because he can't sit there, look at you straight in the face and explain anything. Nothing of his story fits normally in stories. I can get 5 or 6 things that fit and move on. Nothing fits here, everyone. Yeah, so this, everything reads like this is a complete scam. That's what I've been saying for a long time, and I think the thing is dirty and rotten to the core. Yes. Exactly. I'd been saying that it is a front. It's a front. FTX is the catalyst for government regulation of crypto. Just watch. Oh, yeah, exactly. Here he is, Sam Bankman-Fried with Bill Clinton, his big buddy there. Bankman-Fried's assets plummet from $16 billion to zero in days. He resigns as FTX CEO as a crypto company files for bankruptcy. Bankman-Fried was worth $26 billion at the peak in March. Wow. This is from yesterday. The entire $16 billion fortune of former FTX co-founder Sam Bankman-Fried has been wiped out, one of history's greatest ever destructions of wealth. The downfall of his crypto empire, which filed for bankruptcy Friday, along with his resignation, means assets owned by the mogul once likened to John Paramount Morgan, have become worthless. At the peak, the 30-year-old was worth $26 billion, and he was still worth almost $16 billion at the start of the week. Unbelievable. Okay, so moving on. Yep, FTX partnered with Ukraine, honk honk. After my interview with SBF, I was convinced I was talking to a future trillionaire, quote unquote. Dear Sequoia, we realize you are trying very hard to recover this article from your website, which you deleted. So here it is, courtesy of the Wayback Machine. SBF has a savior complex, and maybe you should too. He lives his life by a calculus of altruistic impact. What a ridiculous puff piece. And it was all garbage and all lies. And like, hello, guys. $2 billion of clients' money is missing from collapsed crypto exchange FTX. Look at the physiognomy. Look at it. Just look at it. All right. That says it all. We did see this. Oh, we're going to make the world a better place. Blah, blah, blah. How FTX's Sam Bankman-Fried went from a crypto golden boy to villain. The exchange's founder, once seen as a steady hand in the world of digital assets, is under investigation, and his company filed for bankruptcy. He was never a hero. He was always a villain. His billion-dollar fortune has collapsed. He's facing Justice Department and SEC investigations. His firm, FTX, is bankrupt, and with it, many hopes for the future of crypto itself. An outwardly genial 30-year-old, commonly referred to as SBF, Mr. Bankman-Fried, was until this week, the industry's leading champion. His firm's finances were opaque, but he seemed to be an open book on Twitter and in scores of media interviews. Bill Clinton, Tom Brady, Katy Perry, and other bold-faced names trekked to FTX's Bahama base to appear with him at a conference he organized to promote his visions of a sophisticated financial system built around digital assets. Yeah, because that's the goal, guys, is to get rid of cash and move to a system of centrally planned economy where they can turn off your finances overnight if you do something that they don't like or you have an opinion that they find inconvenient. He spoke recently of becoming the world's first trillionaire. I bet he did. He gave liberally to political candidates and causes. No, that's called lobbying. He became an advocate for effective altruism, a trendy philosophical movement that encourages young people to make big money so they can donate fortunes to charity. Right. Another side to Bankman-Fried emerged as his firm grew. He was brusque and insulting with overseas regulators and others, said people involved in the meetings. He demonstrated a cocksure style in negotiations to buy struggling crypto companies. He courted U.S. politicians and regulators and seemed to egg on their scrutiny of his rivals. Oh, yeah, you mean purchasing it? And behind the scenes, FTX was using billions of dollars of customer money to fund risky trades by Alameda Research, a digital currency firm he also founded. Revelations of the practice this week shocked Mr. Bankman-Fried's admirers as well as many of his own employees. The undisclosed loans tore a hole in FTX's finances that set the stage for the exchange's swift implosion earlier this week. So we will leave it there. I'd like to know your thoughts on this. What did you think of FTX? What are your thoughts on crypto? What do you think about what could possibly be going on behind the scenes here? Do you think that somebody was backing him? I think that they were, obviously. And I think that we don't know who that person is, but someone was backing him big. As that video said, someone had been backing him. Somebody gave him that initial money. In order to make money in that space, you have to have some money to begin with. Somebody was behind him, funding him. And I think it should be obvious, based on who his parents were, that he had connections in high places, and this was a frontman situation. Now, I also find this Caribbean island thing also to be very weird. The bizarre romantic relationships going on with the inner circle at FTX, I find disturbing, and it would not surprise me at all if we start learning revelations about that type of activity taking place. Anyways, that's my video for today. I hope everybody has a good day.